I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us today for another episode of Holistic Love. And I am your host, Fox RedSky. I'm here today to really share you the whole message that we're really trying to bring here on Holistic Love. I have a little over 27 years of astrology knowledge. I am a veteran of the United States Army. I'm a member of the Lepon Apache tribe of Texas. I'm also a survivor of domestic abuse as a child, and so I can definitely speak from a place of experiencing much tragedy, but at the same token, much deep, restful healing.
Right on.
And the whole journey that we're about to take you on is really a journey of self-love and self-realization, because only when we're allowed to do these things can we really have healthy connections, right? Like, that should be the bedrock of every relationship that we have in our lives, is coming to anyone in our life with a full cup, with a full understanding of who we are, and not falling into these drama controls or idiosyncrasies that would continue to reharm us or rewound us. Also on the show, I have the amazing Don Ray, who is not only helping me produce this amazing episode, but he is also contributing so much in his own personal growth, in his own walk of life, in his own journey. Just share a little bit about yourself with us.
Well, a little bit about me. I'm Don Ray, everybody. Happy to meet y'all. I'm here on the journey. I'm on a growth path. I'm here to expel any myths or rumors about toxic masculinity. I'm here to highlight some of the toxic masculinity that I've partaken in. And I don't know, this isn't like a penance or anything, but it's accountability, it's healthy, it's therapy, and it's a safe space. So I'm taking the opportunity to grow, to learn from you, and just share and let people know that, we're all people. We all have our struggles, from our different socioeconomic backgrounds to our, just what we're interested in. We all have the same struggles, and it's different. And it's really interesting to hear different perspectives from different genders, different walks of life, different professions. And we all have the similar, as different as everything is, we all are very similar in those regards. So I hope to be able to bring transparency, a truth, a vulnerability, and you guys are going to be watching me grow in real time. So I'm excited for that. And I'll turn it back over to our host here, and I'll be here shedding light as I can and just learning and growing. So passing it back to her.
Yeah. And so, let's talk a little bit about what holistic love looks like, right? To me, especially in our current society, in our current paradigm, a lot of the values and the things that really kept the family unit together and created, healthy, sustainable models have kind of slowly deteriorated. And there's a huge loss of connectivity. The community is very disorganized. The family unit is very disorganized. And on the big, grand national scale, there's a lot of division and polarity, which has just caused so much loneliness and so much, depression. But really, underneath the silver lining is that we all have the capacity to really love ourselves, do the work, and really transcend this on an individual level. And the thing is, when we do this, when we are the example, when we are living in our highest authentic truth, when we are being who we're meant to be, it gives permission to other people to do the same. But on top of that, it really attracts into our vibrational field the love that we really are seeking.
Man, all right. Yeah, and you got to be the change you want to see, right? You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is. So that's so transformative what you just said. So I'm just gobsmacked to be in this place. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm not as poised as I would like to be. Yeah, I'll just pass it back to you.
So, the first steps, right? The first steps, this whole next season that we're going to be coming into our lives, right, is just like a season of self-acceptance and self love, right? And there's so many tools available. There's so many ways of really diving deep into yourself. Mine has always been astrology, right? I don't really use predictive astrology so much as I use personality astrology. And just even psychology in general, just looking at the who and the why, right? Because we do things for a reason. We have the reactions that we have for a reason. And if you look at the pattern from a long enough time scale, you're really going to see like, oh, this is something that I keep repeatedly doing. Why? And some people have the courage to ask that question. Some people don't, and then they keep repeating it and they're like, why? And then they feel like they're the victim because like they don't take any personal responsibility. And the number one step I can say to everyone in the audience listening who is seeking a fulfilling relationship, who is seeking, real happiness and contentment, is taking responsibility of your own personhood, right? I mean, yes, the first, 0 to I would say 14 or 15 years, we were at the behest of maybe our caregivers, right? And we didn't necessarily have a lot of the control to, have our needs met or express ourselves in a way that we were allowed to be. But after that, like then it's our responsibility. Like after that, it's like, we can only blame that situation for so long, and and it's really paying attention to the subconscious patterns, right, in our lives, because that's running the show.
Yeah.
That's really what's running the show,
Yeah. And for me, I grew up with a saying in the South. It's like you don't have to be where you come from. Like you might have come from a toxic environment and this and that, but it's your job that once you're able to eat better, do better, get better knowledge, be in better surroundings, to actually do the work what it takes to do that. So you don't have to be where you come from, but you do have to do the work if you come from a toxic place. You know what I mean? If you come from lack of support, lack of emotional support, lack of identity, you have to identify those things. You have to do the work, and I think that's really really tough for people to just actualize and be like, hey, I need to work on me. So
100%, and here on holistic love, it's not just like about pointing out all of our flaws, right, and staying in a lower vibration, but it really is so that we can all rise together, because when one of us rises, we all rise. When one of us is healed, we all heal. And so on this show, that's really what we're going to be discussing. Yes, we'll be pointing out the darkness or the shadow work that needs to get done first, right? Because it's like not all lollipops and sunflowers, right? It's
right.
there is and we're adults, right? Like you have to realize that as you become an adult, that like the harder stuff. But the thing is, and then I'll tell you something else, is like the stuff that's really worth anything isn't gonna become easy. The stuff that's really that juicy stuff is the stuff that you worked for, and no one can take that away from you. No one.
And I mean that's so that's the inner work, right? Like that's the stuff, as far as like you're saying, like nobody can take that stuff away from you. That's why it's harder, right? Because it's something you earn. It's something that's garnished, that's developed. It's not something that's a given, right? You have to like dive deep down. And I think that us as people, it's hard to like self-regulate sometimes, right? Maybe you don't have the proper support system, or maybe you feel, I don't know, maybe you feel not like trapped, but in a situation to where you don't know the way out, or you're going to do the best you can until you find a different course of action or something. So I think doing the work, to sound redundant, is the work, but you got to be doing the right work, right? Like if you got holes in your wall, but you're over here like mopping the floors, it's like, hey, you have to be able to identify the work that you need to do, I think. And I think that's what a lot of us not struggle with, but sometimes we become a little perplexed with, because it's almost like, well, I have this issue and that issue, and I need to work on this, but how do I go about doing that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
And so I think that is what everyone who's listening, everyone who's tuning in, that you're really going to get to see in this upcoming podcast, in this upcoming season, is not just like the reality that we're all experiencing these same toxic wounds, or we all have these same core wounds, but you're also going to find like actual solutions, real-time solutions, like people actually doing the work
Right.
with you. And so like that's like something I'm super excited about too, is just like having certain experts, dating and relationship coaches coming on here. And of course I'll always be willing to share my knowledge when it comes to astrology, because I mean, I really take this stuff seriously, you guys. I've studied every form of astrology. I mean, this is like ancient wisdom. So like, please never hesitate to reach out to me too and ask me what I know, because it's my gift and I love to share it. But to be more on point, it's just that there are so many tools, you guys, so many tools out there.
Yeah.
And there's
Really.
never been a more better time in human history to be able to like get on the internet and just Google it or find it, or there's a YouTube video or there's a podcast.
It's the information age. We're in the information age. Like literally, everyone has a supercomputer in their pocket.
And my best advice to you, because I feel like a lot of times, especially because we have a lot of like fake gurus that pop up here and there that are like, I have all the answers, right?
Yeah, right.
My best advice to you, even listening to this podcast, even listening to anything I have to say or anything Don has to say, is like always trust your gut. You're going to know. And that's the thing I think that a lot of times doesn't happen, is that we aren't self-empowered enough. Like we feel like we have to go to a teacher or a guru and they're going to know. But the thing is, we are all connected and we all have internal wisdom. And if we listen to this, y'all guys, if we listen to that internal wisdom, we'll never be steered wrong. You'll never be steered wrong. You know when something rings true in your heart and your spirit and your soul. And so I'm just going to tell you that, like, don't look for the guru. You have the guru staring in front of your face every time you look in the mirror.
The guru is in you.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just being as completely transparent and just full of love as I can possibly be, because I too am not perfect. I too am always working on my self-worth and identifying my own internal struggles, and it's just something, the work is never done. But at the same token, like I can definitely share you the progress that I've made in my journey. And I'm nowhere near, you guys, that little broken girl that I used to be, oh my God, like I am completely blessed and transformed even as we speak.
Yeah, right on, right on, right on. And for me, the work that I'm doing is just accountability, right? Not necessarily in a space of blaming others, but just recognizing my role in it. Okay, and I think that's been paramount for my growth personally. Being able to see, well, what part did I play in it? It's my narrative, right? It's my book. I've got the pen. I've got the book. But sometimes I don't know where it happened, but I was in my car. I had my hands on the wheel, and I just took my hands off the wheel, and I just became the side seat driver. Or I got in the back seat, and I was like on cruise control, or I let my co-pilot just determine where they were going. That's not the smartest thing to do. If you don't know where you're going or what you're doing, the best thing to do is self-actualize. Spend time with yourself. We spoke earlier when we were speaking with JP and Ashley about seasons and knowing when and where. I think it's just about doing the self work you were saying, but recognizing what type of work you need to be doing when. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I have definitely recently got some aha moments, right? Some
right,
aha moments in regards to some of the work that I have to do, right?
right,
And as being a leader in my community, or being a mother, or being always there for others, right? Always there for others. It's really, really easy for me to see the work that others have to do. It's
right,
really easy for me to cast my tea leaves for someone else, right?
right.
And then like to see my own situations and my own problems. It really takes someone else too sometimes. But yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I can share on a personal level, like what I have been really working through in terms of my subconscious and my own work is really revolving around self-worth, and that's a whole episode in itself, right? Like that is a whole episode in itself.
100%.
And I feel, even as a woman right now who's done many much work in her life to really I was I lived on the streets as a teenager. I came from two teenage parents that were 12 and 14 years old. I spent my early life in the military, and I struggled. I had I basically experienced a lot of trauma early on. And so like to be where I am right now is just like super great. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'm good, right? Well, no, like there's still some subconscious programming that is allowing me to still act out in ways that don't really fully benefit me or show who my truest potential, my highest potential. So, and I know that as I, shed some of these wounds, that you, the audience, are going to get an opportunity to maybe relate to some of this trauma and relate and see how, like, maybe it's playing a role in your life. And it's a very raw and and very awkward thing. Like it's not
Man.
something like everybody always wants to come to you and be like, "Hey, I'm perfect," or "Hey,
Right,
look
right,
at all my shininess."
right. I'm shiny and new. Rip me out the plastic.
But
Yeah.
like it's really another thing to be like, as a teacher and as someone who's accomplished quite a bit in my life, considering my origin stories, to be like, yeah, no, I still got work to do, and oh man, it's so hard, and oh man, oh, like, yeah. So I'm doing this because one, I need to, and two, whoever's out there listening, you can know you're not alone. Like no matter where you are in life, it's going to be, it's just what it is.
That's just what it is. That's literally what it is. And as far as me personally, just as far as like you sharing your testimony, like specific work that I'm doing, like the work I'm doing today. Today's my birthday, right? So the work I'm doing today is moving in my purpose in every moment. Like I'm conscious of it, like a taskmaster, right? Because I've allowed my social groups, my professional interactions, and even fraternizing on an interpersonal level. Just as far as like nothing as far as like sexual or romantic, but just as far as like intermingling things, being able to separate, not in the space of compartmentalizing, but to maximize and to honor each one of those things. Because spreading yourself too thin can dilute the potency of the potion anyway. So and out of respect to everyone that I hope to work with, do business with, interact with, gain ground with, it's just best for me to be as potent as I possibly can be. And I think that that's just the work I'm doing, focusing moment to moment to make sure I'm living in my purpose. So that's my fun. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, to expand upon that, like, it's that is something that if you are doing out there in the audience, if you are overextending yourself, if you do have this uncontrollable desire to people please and stuff like that. Those are really the real loud red flags of, hey, there's still some core wounds and childhood wounds that you haven't addressed yet, and that's something that I've been having to look at. It's
Yeah.
something I've really had to look at. And because we do have the tendency to self-sabotage, right? We do have the tendency to like, there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so much energy you have, right? And like to be able and to be able to just harness and focus it in a good way where you're in divine alignment.
Divine alignment. Man, make sure you're in divine alignment. You know what I mean? And for those of you that aren't familiar with divine alignment is, you should Google it because you got that computer in your phone. So let's make this interactive, guys. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, be in divine alignment.
Because I personally believe, and if you know me at all, like there is the seen world and there is the unseen world, and there are things beyond our understanding, but the one thing remains universally true is we are all connected on some level. We are all connected, heart to heart, spirit to spirit.
Yeah.
And so when we can start to pay attention to the universe, We start to see the signs. We start to live in our divine truth. We get clear with ourselves. We do
Right.
the work.
Do the work.
Miracles happen. I mean, I live in Costa Rica full time in a beautiful luxury, home in the mountains, y'all guys.
Yeah.
Like, when you start to really see your potential and you start to live in your purpose and know how worthy you are.
That's it. And I think knowing your purpose and like knowing your worth is paramount, right? And sometimes you can be in the wrong geographic location, right? Like I've been in places with like testimony, like with my photography. I've been in places to where I would start charging $1,000 for 2 location music videos with a 48-hour turnaround. I brought the editor in and everything, so I was charging anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 in certain areas. Then I relocated to, let's just say, another city. I won't disclose that. Respect to every origin. And they were charging 1,000 for movies, and the music videos were being done for drinks of alcohol and like access to clubs and like after hours. So I had to augment, not my value, but be aware that that I need to go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated, and my value doesn't lessen. My value doesn't lessen. It just what my value is worth can change based on my geographic location, and I think that's paramount in relationships and everything. So
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What you're saying, I can totally. There's a beautiful, beautiful a Buddhist story that like highlights what you're saying so vividly, and I won't go into the long story, but I'll give you like the short rendition of it. Like this young man asked his grandfather, like, what does it mean to what worth means, right?
like what do you mean? What does worth mean? Like what do you mean? Like what is worth?
Yeah, what is worth?
Like
Like
what
what
is
is
worth?
well, what makes something worth more and what makes something not worth more,
Okay.
And the grandfather gives the young boy a task. He says, "See that stone in the garden?" He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I want you to take it to 3 different places, right?" And so the first place he took it to, and he says, and never tell anyone anything. So just hold up 2 fingers, right? He's like, so he goes to the flea market, and the lady asks how much it is, and he just holds up 2 fingers, and he's like, and she says $2, and then the next place he goes to is a museum, and the young man holds up his 2 fingers, and he goes $2,000,
Right.
and then the next time he goes to a jeweler and holds, asks the same question, and he holds up the 2 fingers, and he says 200,000. So the story, and he comes back to his grandfather, and he's like, "Look, this is what they each said." And he says, "So that's what it is." He's like, some people adding to what you're saying in terms of worth and in terms of like being in the right place or being around the right types of people. But that's why it's so paramount, Don, to clean up our energy. It's so paramount to clean up our energy because whether we realize it or whether we're conscious of it or not,
It's happening
we're attracting people into our field
the whole time.
that are going to be reemphasizing those whatever we believe.
Whatever we believe.
So it's like if we believe we're only worth this much,
Right.
or if we believe, so yeah, that's so the universe only does what what we're saying to do it.
And that's love.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, for our audience, like holistic love, right, is like embodying, respecting, and loving yourself first and foremost, and then attracting that individual into your life that's going to complement your energy, that's going to be in harmony and sync. And so if you're attracting these people in your life that aren't in harmony and sync, well, let me see why.
Let me dive into why they keep coming around. Maybe
know?
I'm creating a type of environment to where they breed and they feel comfortable and they spawn.
Yes, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's just, again, that's all a part of that work. And I don't think that anyone is better or worse than another. I don't think that, there's us and there's them. I don't think that at all. I think that there are people at different levels of the process.
Right, like different stages of the game of life.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's super fair.
And so it's like you just have to realize that you can't save everybody,
Ooh,
right?
ooh, did y'all catch that? You can't save everybody.
Just because you see the potential doesn't mean that you're going to, and that's a trap that a lot of us fall into, myself included, where I'm like, oh, but they're almost there at where where I've done my work, but like, it's
What
just,
what my grandfather said, listen, when he said you're almost there, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Like literally, like
right.
because it's like a gauge, right? But it's like if you did 99% of the work it took for you to be whole, right? And then somebody else did like 95, right? But they're expecting you to carry the other 5. But you've done all the work to carry your 99. It's just like, hey, I don't have any problems walking with you and traveling with you through life through this baggage. But hey, these are your bags. I'm not going to carry all your bags. I've got my own bags. Now I can help you and we can work together. We can repackage this. We can try to unpack. For those of y'all who don't know, that's where that expression comes from, unpacking the baggage. You can try to unpack each other's baggage and then travel lighter and go forward in life. But I think you have to be aware of what you bring.
Yeah. And that's really all it is, and I'm speaking to all of you just like with a very loving heart and a very open heart, is that, when, it just takes that first step, right? It just takes that first step into a self-awareness. And it might be just to process all the information, It just to process the information might require you to be alone for a small amount of time so that you can process that and really get clear. Because the clearer you are, the more efficient the universe is at delivering exactly what you want.
Like as far as like if you know specifically what type of car you want, what color you want, what type of body you want, what type of partner you want. And I'm jumping around, but be specific. Don't be afraid to be specific with what you want. Because think about any time in your life where you've gotten things that you really wanted. It was 9 times out of 10 pretty close to what you asked for or not. So what I'm having to learn is to dare to not dream big, because I'm a big creator. I have immense creative thoughts, but it's totally appropriate for me to pull up in a Bentley right now. It's okay for me to have a Bentley outside. It's okay to like and to expect that, not from a conceited standpoint or from a materialistic, but from a gravitas, from a living well, from abundance. You know what I mean? And I think that when you live in abundance, it keeps all the low frequency vibes way down, way down.
100%. And also, as you level your game up, you know what I mean? And I had a very good friend of mine say the exact same thing. It's like, you're only going to be surrounded by those exemplary examples because we're all mirrors of each other. Essentially, that's what it is. We're all mirrors of each other.
Literally.
And as you start to clean up your own mirror, as you start to really define what you want in this world and know your worthiness and know what you're capable of doing, the universe rewards all of this with good relationships, with abundance, with on and on and on and on and on, and so every single step in the journey is important and necessary. There is no skipping any steps. There is no like, oh, can I just like go from point A to 100? No, no. But that's the thing. That's the beauty of all of it, is that you are getting to live this life and experience the contrast. And wow, you guys, like, we're so incredibly lucky.
Seriously. Well, I mean, you guys stay tuned. We got a lot of great things coming. Got some viewer questions. I've been going live over here, so we're definitely gonna address some of those in some upcoming topics. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in and being a part of Holistic Love. And we look forward to being able to help everyone find techniques, mechanisms, support groups, systems, tools to do the work. Because let's face it, you got to do your work.
Yes, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who listened today. I just want you to know that there's nothing that you cannot do, that you are worthy of healthy, beautiful love, and that I believe in you and I really want to see you at your highest and greatest potential. I want to see this year so many people reaching out to me saying, oh my God, I have found my love first with myself and now with another.
Right, right. Because you got to love you first. It starts with loving you. You can't expect to love anybody else if you don't love you. Right on. So this is us signing off.
Ciao.